So I obviously had to get this book because I love Jessa Hastings and I love Magnolia Parks. So I pre-ordered this about a week ago and I already finished reading it. It came out December 5th and it's December 8th today. And I am talking about Never. I got the paperback version. I love the map, the colorful map that's on the hardcover. But I kind of like the paperback version more in a way. And then you can't really tell, but in certain lighting, the stars like sparkle in certain lighting. You can't really tell here, but there's the spine. I love all her spines for all her books. And then the back is so beautiful. This is basically a retelling of Peter Pan. It's 375 pages. This is basically a retelling of Peter Pan. And I don't know how she wrote this on top of the fourth I don't even know what book it is now. The fifth book in the Magnolia Parks series, but the third Magnolia Parks, if that makes sense. For the Magnolia Parks girlies, they know what that means. And I don't know how she wrote Into the Dark and then this like at the same time. Maybe she had this already like drafted or something, but I don't know like how you do that. Like I can't even like do 2 books at the same time, like me writing them. It's just like so insane. But props to her for doing that. Okay, so the reason I bought this is because I love the author's writing, and literally her writing has changed me and how I look at reading books and like writing books. And it is just so like captivating. I don't know how to explain it, but a lot of people don't like her writing and I can't relate to that. So I'm not talking about you, I am talking about ones that can relate to how amazing her writing is. Anyways, and it's very simple, so I never am reading a story. I'm never reading something from her and like my thoughts just wander and like I go to space. I am always focused in the words and its simplicity and its stylisticness, all of that. So I don't care about Peter Pan really. I mean, it's not that I don't like Peter Pan, but it's just not my favorite story. Like I don't really care, but I understand why there's so much wonder and I don't know, just like allure to his story. And I think a lot of it is the fact of being carefree and also having a lot of freedom and also not growing up. I feel like those are the themes of Peter Pan. Like that's what he's all about. So I read this book. I had no expectations coming into it, but I was very captivated at first. And then we got to Neverland and then like the shitstorm hit. Like people that have already finished reading this kind of know what I mean. Whew. So I have a feeling that I have a feeling that Jessa put a lot of Magnolia Parks into this. What I'm saying is, I'm trying not to spoil this book for you, but what I'm saying is like there is so much going back and forth between liking this boy, Peter Pan, and between liking Jameson Hook, which is Captain Hook's son. It is literally Magnolia Parks on steroids. And if you already thought that Magnolia Parks was like toxic relationship on steroids, this is Magnolia Parks on steroids. And no offense to Jessa, but I did not like this book. I did not like this book because one, the main character, Daphne, is very, I guess you can say naive. And I don't want to say it's just because she's turning 17, about to turn 18 years old. But like, she is just like so naive in like the worst way possible. Like she bases her entire identity kind of, somewhat in a way, not entirely, on who's loving her in that moment. If Peter Pan loves her, then she stays with Peter Pan. If Jameson Hook loves her, then she's with Jameson at that point. If they're both arguing with her, she's Switzerland. She's her own island. And then the second someone else is nice to her, either Pan or Hook, she'll go with them and then they get in a fight. And then she'll go back to the other one. So it's very that. So I guess you can say it's real in that sense, like Magnolia Parks. But it's also very exhausting. And I'm like, girl, like, where is your self-worth? I'm like, whew, like this is not a book for, I feel like this is not a book if you don't know, this is not a book for you if you don't know your self-worth. Like, this will make you feel even worse about your self-worth, I think. And luckily, I have a really high self-worth of myself, so this doesn't affect me. But like, I can see it really affecting someone that doesn't have a good self-worth and thinking that this is like normal and this is like not normal. Do not be like Daphne. Do not be like Daphne Darling. Do not be like Daphne Darling. Do not be like any of the Darling girls, because they are not good role models. I absolutely hate Peter Pan so much in this book. He's already annoying in the cartoon, the Disney cartoon, but in this book, he is like tenfold. And I did a tiny bit of research that apparently how Peter Pan is in the novel that he's like based off of, or the story, whatever, he's like 10 times rude. And I think Jessa might have done the literature on that, because he is very prideful, impetuous, annoying, and just wonderfully and incredibly rude. Like, I don't know what it is about these authors loving to write rude characters. Like, don't write rude characters. Like, the characters I write in my stories are rude for a reason, but these men are just like so rude for no reason. And one of the worst character traits about them is that they're like he's misogynistic. Like, he calls her girl like all the time. He calls her Wendy because he can't remember her name. And it's just like so annoying and so rude. And then like Daphne kind of tolerates it in a way, but she also like what do you call it? She kind of like, not attacks him for it, but like calls him out on it. And like, but like not as much as she should, you know, like she tolerates a little bit too much than she should, which is very annoying. She needs to like say more. And I just don't like when like characters are misogynistic like that. Like, he'll say things like, well, first of all, he calls her girl all the time, and it's not like how us trendy millennials or Gen Zs do it. We'll be like, girl this, girl that, girl this, girl that. He's saying it like derogatory, in the sense like he doesn't remember her name, and then second, he says it as like girl, like speaking down to her in a way, like. And then he'll say things like, oh, girls always do this, or oh, girls always do that, oh, girls always do this. I don't like that. I don't like reading that. I don't like being a part of it. So it's very like rude and condescending, and just like, it's just like not good character. And I would never want to be in Neverland with that freak. Also, I did not like Jameson Hook's character. It was this is not a children's book, by the way. This is not a children's book. There is cussing in it, and there is like nudity and like a little bit of violence. It's definitely not a kid's book, and there's like a lot of sexual aspects. And I find it so weird. Okay. I find it so weird that Daphne's character kind of introduced like sexual things to the characters on this realm. I don't know, I just like find it weird. Like, why are you gotta bring that into this? Like, I don't know why. I know, it's so weird. Like a lot of the characters had no idea what that was, and then like she had to tell them what it was. Jameson Hook knew what it was though, so it's not everybody in the realm was naive to it, but like it was just like a little bit weird that she brought that into this. Like, she had to, like, they didn't need to know that, girl. Like, you don't like all the boys there like that. You only like Peter Pan and Jameson Hook. It was just like, oh my god, it's kind of traumatizing. This book is kind of traumatizing, and not in the way that Magnolia Parks is. Like, Magnolia Parks is traumatizing in a good way, toxic and good way, but this is like traumatizing in like the worst way possible. Like, I kind of don't, I love the cover art, by the way. I'm like, I kind of don't want to think about this book. You know what's so funny? Okay, so in this book there is, and I think it's very unique to itself. I don't think like the original Peter Pan story has this, especially not the cartoon. But basically there is like a cloud in Neverland where this guy named John like kind of is the guy that like runs it or whatever, where there's like a giant mirror or something like that, and then you basically see all your baggage, like your literal metaphorical but literal in this realm baggage. So you'll see like negative thoughts about so and so, blah blah blah, and they'll be titled like that. And what you can do is you can literally drop them off in baggage claim. That's what they call it. You'll literally drop them off in baggage claim, and you will completely forget about that. So let's say I had a bad day today, right, with a certain person. I don't want to remember it in the future, so it doesn't make me go crazy. So what I'm gonna do is go up to the cloud, I'm gonna drop off that bag, and it's just not gonna be in my consciousness anymore, like at all. But if I wanted to, I could always go back up there and pick it up. So it's not erased forever unless you throw it in a fire, which he does about something towards the end. I'm not gonna say about who, but you'll figure it out yourself. So that would be gone forever. That's like a complete memory wipe from you. And it can no longer be retrieved since it's thrown in the fire. And she threw it in the fire, so that's it. But like, I found that to be very, very cool and very interesting. And it literally gave me Percy Jackson vibes. Like, I don't know if there's something like that in Percy Jackson, but reading that part, it made me feel like I was in like Greek mythology, and I was like reading Percy Jackson, and I just felt like that aspect of it made me feel like I was in the Percy Jackson world, and I felt really, really cool. And then there's a lot of magic in here, more magic than is in Peter Pan, like the cartoon. There's like blood magic, soul magic, healing magic, things like that, on top of like the Tinkerbell version of Tinkerbell that's in here, which her name is Rune. What else do I want to say? So I thought that was really cool. Oh, but yeah, the reason I mentioned the baggage thing is that reading this book made me want to go up on the cloud and drop off that bag that I read this book. And I'm not offending the author. Like, I'm not like, I enjoyed the writing. Like, the writing of this is very, very good. It's just the consciousness of the character that like throws me off so much. It's just like, girl, have some self-worth. And there I go with the girl again. But like, literally, girl, have some self-worth and like go back to your planet. I don't know what you're doing in Neverland. Like, this is a perfect example where you have to break a generational trauma. Like, this is where she should have been the chosen one to break that generational trauma of Peter Pan, because he is literally trauma. He literally hooks up with like every girl, kisses like every girl, and is very rude to everyone. And he thinks he owns everything, and he thinks he's like God. And he's like 400 years old probably. And yeah, I would just not be associated or talk to anyone like Peter Pan, because he grosses me out. Especially how he talks, and his whole vibe and his whole energy is very rude and just like callous and very annoying. Like, you're just annoying, and you just like should not be talking to people that way. I don't know why you talk to people that way. You're very rude. You should stop drinking from the fountain of youth and just like call it quits at that point, because you've had a good run, and you need to like reincarnate into another body at that point, because you're just like done. It is done. Like, I think immortality is just not for you anymore, and I think it's kind of done with you, and you should probably reincarnate to another Disney character or something, someone nicer, because you're just so obnoxious and just incredibly rude. Tell me I'm wrong. After you read this whole book, tell me I'm wrong. Like, there is no part of me that could love Peter Pan. There is no part of me. Like, he is written to be an unlikable character. Like, if you like him, then I have problems with you probably, because you probably relate to him in a way, and I just can't relate to that at all. So that was Never by Jessa Hastings. I cannot believe that this is going to be a series. I will not be reading the second book, even though I'm probably gonna love the art cover, the front cover for the second book, just because her covers never fail. This cover is so beautiful, and I love the spine. I love the font. I love the font of the writing of the inside of the book. There's so many good things that I can say about this book, like the stylisticness of the writing, the consciousness of the character, how it feels like you're literally in the character's mind. I literally couldn't put this book down. Also, I couldn't put it down because I wanted to finish it, because I just wanted to see if there was a point that I would like the book towards the end, but there was not a point that I liked the book at the end. Just certain aspects here and there. I love the fact that they talked about star travelers, not to spoil it for you, but star travelers, aliens, black holes, kind of interdimensional travel, and then immortality, and then magic. like the magics that I mentioned. Those are the aspects that I liked about it. It did make me feel like I was in a real realm in Neverland. It's just, girl, you need to go back to Earth. And then the way this ended, I was like, the way this ended, you could literally read it as a standalone book. So I don't know what's gonna happen in the next one. Like, it's very, very open-ended. I thought she was, oh, spoiler, I thought she was gonna go back to Earth. She doesn't, but I hope she does at some point in the series. I don't really care to find out, just because the characters are so unlikable. Like, first of all, Peter Pan is the most unlikable, and then second would be Jameson Hook, and then third would definitely be Daphne. So the three main characters are the three most unlikable characters. All the side characters, like, who did I like? I did not like anybody. No, I did not. Wait, there's one thing that I forgot to mention. I wish this book would have included Peter Pan's shadow. You know how that's a thing in the cartoon? I don't know if that's a thing in the novel that it's based off of, but I wish that was included in this book. That is not included in this book at all. If anything, it feels like this whole character of Peter Pan is his shadow self to make things worse, but I wish a shadow would have been shown. But that is my review on Never by Jessa Hastings. You gotta read it for yourself to find out.